Good morning, everybody. It is May the 9th, a Tuesday. Hope everybody's day is off to a great start. Personally, I love the weather outside. Nice and warm. It's going to get hot today. Of course, we're going to have a check of your forecast coming up at the end of this, but we want to get to your headlines so that you know what's going on in the world today and, of course, around our city. This is the First Alert Desk. As always, if you are watching on Facebook, the Atlanta News First Facebook page, I should be able to see your comment. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, be sure to shout them out. If you just want to say hello, be sure to shout that out, and I will say hello back, and we can have a little dialogue here. Trying to stall just a bit so I can get that up. Okay, so we have a lot of stories to jump into today. One we have been following for about a year now. Really awful story. In fact, every time I hear about it and I see this mom on our newscast, it just breaks my heart. Her son, 6 months old, sitting in a car seat, shot by a stray bullet and died. It's probably the worst thing you can think of happening as a parent, and when you see the sweet face, it just makes it so much harder to fathom here. So the death of baby Grayson Fleming last year really just stunned the entire city, and there are new charges for the man and the woman accused in this. It was a drive-by shooting, and again, he was hit by a stray bullet. And as we've done a lot of reporting on this, the prosecutor announced new gang charges in this case. We want to get to Tori Cooper's reporting on this.
It's because of this.
We're going to be...
Carrie Gray can still hear her son Grayson's voice.
I can't hear his videos because that voice is so angelic.
She feels the pain of losing him all over again.
I'm going to grant the continuance and we'll reset it to the June calendar.
After a year of waiting to see whether her son Grayson's accused killers, DeQuasi Little and Sharice Ingram, would plead in the case, Judge Eaton deciding to continue the case because of this.
We're going to be filing motions to admit gang evidence as well.
Fulton County Prosecutor Asia Beja says she found new information and both suspects should now face gang charges too.
I just want them held accountable, period, so they can't do this to somebody else's family.
Little's defense, arguing prosecutors are violating Little's rights to a speedy trial.
Now he's sitting in jail longer when we already had a May 15th court date. So that's the basis for the demand for the speedy trial.
As for Ingram's side,
of course, I would like to see this new indictment to make sure that we represent my client completely.
A new trial date now set for mid-June, but the wait for justice is weighing heavy on her heart.
It doesn't matter what I have to do, what strength I have to come up with, or how I have to get through this. I'm going to see it through to the end, and I'm going to be there to advocate for my son.
I'm Tori Cooper, Atlanta News First.
Again, just an awful, awful situation. We are going to continue to follow that story as it develops. But of course, your heart just goes out for that mom who just wants to be strong. The mom had previously told us she was hoping the defendants would just plead guilty so she could avoid the whole trial. Trials last a long time when you're looking for justice for a family member or a friend. So you can certainly understand where she's coming from on that. But of course, now we know that the prosecutors may want to try them separately, the two defendants. And so again, we're going to stay on top of this for you so you know what's going on here with that. I want to get to some of the comments. Barbara, you said prayers for her and her family. A lot of people feeling like that this morning. William Powers, good morning from South Florida. I hope you also have a wonderful Tuesday. Good morning from Noonan to you, Barbara, is what you said. Zach, good morning to you. I hope you have a great day as well. Michael Baxter tuning in as always. Always good to see you in here. Good morning to you. Tom, I did see your comment about Hunter Biden. As Jeannie Kirksey said, kind of unrelated to the situation right now, the story was about, somebody who unfortunately lost their life, a baby in our community who unfortunately lost their life, and that's what that story was about. But to my knowledge, no, Hunter Biden has not been arrested. So that's just responding to your comment. I want to make sure you know I'm looking at you too. We're all Americans, we all have a vested interests in lots of things going on with our country. We're going to move on to the next story, though. This one was a pretty big shock for a lot of people in our community. This one has to do with former Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill. He was arrested, charged, and convicted. He's headed to prison. This is some footage here, if you have not seen it in some time. So he had appealed for freedom but the federal judge denied it. Okay, so he was convicted of violating the civil rights of 6 detainees. If you'd seen that video, he was using chairs. He was strapping people to chairs as punishment. Obviously, you can't do that. So that's what landed him in this situation. He was hoping to be out of jail and out of prison for the appeals process here. The judge denied that. He is set to begin an 18-month prison sentence next week in Arkansas. And there's that video there for you on that screen if you hadn't seen it yet. So we'll be sure to follow the latest developments on that one for you as well. Mr. Jimmy Hall, good morning to you. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will move on to a story that everybody can get behind, okay? This is probably my favorite story of the day, probably going to be yours too, okay? You know when you go to the airport, you make it there on time, you've checked your bag, you made it through security, everything's great, and then you get to the desk and your flight's been canceled or delayed for hours, and it's not because of the weather, you don't really know what's going on. The Biden administration is proposing you get paid if that happens to you, okay? Now your ears are perking up. So the rules the Biden administration are working on would require airlines to cover things like rebooking fees, hotel stays, ground transportation, meal vouchers, things like that when weather is not to blame. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the rules could even require a cash payout here. The 10 largest airlines do guarantee meals and free rebooking when delays are their fault. 9 of them also cover hotel stays, but they're pushing back against these new rules. They say the costs will come down on the customers. Listen to this.
Ticket prices will go up, plain and simple. That's what happened in Europe. That's what will happen here.
Okay, so another big question here is who would determine when the delay is the airline's fault? Sorry, that's playing on you twice. Who would determine when the delays are the airline's fault, like the Southwest meltdown we saw in December? That was tied to a winter storm, but it also had to do with overbooking and technology issues. So would you get paid in that instance? Would you not? A lot of things to kind of work out the kinks-wise here. But personally, I'd love the idea of getting reimbursed because there is nothing more frustrated when you are stranded. Wesley, good morning to you. Love to see you always commenting in, as always. Moving on to a story that's actually been pretty viral. I think it's hilarious. Talking about the Girls of Buckhead. Okay, these are 2 masked women who go around, and if you call them, they'll remove the boot off of your car for less money than the boot company would. Okay, have you seen this video? That's them. They do it in ski masks so that nobody knows who they are. Okay, so we want to actually come back out of here really quickly and start this back over for you because Amanda Rose has a package on this and you don't want to miss this.
You can't do it.
You can't do it, man. You're finna step on her foot.
I'm not stepping on your foot.
This Atlanta booting company is just trying to do their job. Put a metal boot on a car until the owner pays a $75 fine. But a best friend duo called the Boot Girls in Buckhead are trying to do theirs. Remove the boot for a lower price so the owner pays them instead. They have a magic key that unlocks the boot to do it.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
The interaction turning physical in this viral video with thousands of viewers from Metro Atlanta and beyond.
What you gonna do about it?
The Boot Girls, who wear ski masks to remain anonymous, tell us it was a chaotic moment, but they're not afraid.
We are not looking for no smoke with no boot companies, no nothing.
It isn't the first time the pair have been confronted by a booting company employee. Still, they say the hundreds of dollars in cash is well worth the risk.
We do carry pepper spray, and it's whatever.
I've represented lots of people who have been shot, stabbed, run over in fights with booting company attendants.
Booting attorney Matt Wetherington loves what the Boot Girls are doing, but cautions against it. He says the potential for violence is very real, as is the potential for being arrested. While damaging or stealing a boot is illegal, Atlanta police say it's also illegal to take the boot off, potentially leading to charges like theft of services, criminal trespass, and more.
The law doesn't have to be crystal clear for you to be arrested or for a parking lot owner to sue you. They can do whatever they want and make you deal with the consequences later, and it's going to be substantially higher than $75.
Amanda Rose, Atlanta News First.
As somebody who has been booted unfairly, I would say, I just love this story, but there are your risks if you think about calling them. I just think it's so hilarious they run around in masks and do that. Okay, something that's not hilarious. This is our last one for you. Oh man, this is not the story here. Wrong super. Is this it? That's not it either. So we're just gonna take that guy down. We're talking about the debt ceiling, okay? So it's really hard to wrap your mind around what would happen if we don't get that raised, okay? The U.S. has never defaulted on its debt. To me, this is kind of reminiscent of our mass shooting problem that we have here in the country. Lawmakers can't seem to decide what to do about it, what the solution is, so nothing's been getting done, right? That kind of appears to be what's happening right now at this point. The U.S. has never defaulted on its debt, but it could happen if they can't come to some sort of agreement here. So I've got some video for you because Joe Biden is going to be meeting with a bunch of leaders today. So Biden and most Democratic lawmakers want the limit raised without any spending cuts. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who you're seeing there, and most Republicans say they need to see spending cuts if they're going to agree to boost the ceiling. And they will boost it with the spending cuts. But the clock is ticking. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. could default by June 1st. And there is no plan B. We're looking at a potential crisis here.
If it doesn't get raised, all bets are off. We will have a recession, and it won't be a mild.
So today, President Biden, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Senators Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell will be meeting to discuss this. And if you've ever been curious about what happens if U.S. defaults, a number of things. The experts warn that the stock market could plunge. We could have millions of jobs lost. Social Security payments could be delayed, along with payments for people in our military, veterans benefits, federal workers. A lot of things that come to a standstill. And of course, if we're talking about inflation and recessions, that's not going to help, right? So this game of chicken that lawmakers seem to be playing with each other of who's going to budge first before June 1st, you know, we could all end up being the losers there. So hopefully we can avoid a crisis and they can come to some sort of consensus. Let's talk about the weather. That's actually some good news over here on this Tuesday. It is, okay, everybody made fun of me on the morning show today.
I already know what you're going to say.
Because I said walking outside was like getting hugged. It was warm, it was nice, and y'all called it a humidity hug, right?
Lana, no, the only thing is, like, I love warm hugs, but, like, when it's muggy outside, I don't know.
Is it, okay, hold on. Is it better than when it's 40 degrees and freezing?
Oh.
Or humidity hug?
No, I think I like the cold because then your jacket keeps you warm.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, I
okay.
can't agree with you on that one, but it's okay. There are probably some people out there who agree with you, Lana. Now, I do want to go back to the airport thing because I was at the airport this weekend and that happened to somebody that happened to a flight and they were giving them like essentially refunds, I guess. But like if you could get money,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, we made a mistake, my bad. I mean, time is money.
Let's
you know what I mean?
Lawmakers should be able to.
I'm here for it. Send us the list. We'll sign it. Yep. All right, everybody. Yeah, let's talk about the weather. I know it looks a little gloomy out there this morning, but we will see improvement through the day, and it's going to be a hot one. Yesterday, we topped out at 86 degrees, y'all. 86 degrees, and today will be just a touch warmer, and that's going to kind of just continue on through the week. We do have a couple of slight exceptions, emphasis on the slight part, so we'll take you through everything. If you have any questions and you're watching on Facebook, feel free to comment them. Good morning, Wesley. Hello, everyone that is checking in. Would love to answer any weather questions you just might have. We got lots going on this week, including Mother's Day, which is going to be a hot one. Talk about that as well. All right, everyone, let's take you looking out over downtown. We did have some fog earlier this morning, nothing necessarily dense, but definitely some very low-lying clouds out there this morning that just made it look a little ominous to start the day, but those low-lying clouds are an indication of the moisture in our atmosphere that is making it feel muggy and which will ultimately make it feel kind of hot and humid through the afternoon. Right now, 74 degrees in the city of Atlanta. This is just past 10 a.m., by the way. As we go through the day today, temperatures are going to climb into the upper 80s, 87 degrees. This is the warmest we've been since April. We had one rogue day at 87 in April. How nervous were all of we being at 87 in April? Like, oh boy, here we go. Thankfully, that did not stick around. We ended up having that really nice end to the month and start to the month of May. Cool, but nice. But here we are back in the big time heat. We'll be near 80 by lunchtime. And notice, so the number in, the colorful number, I should say, Underneath the white number is the feels like temperature, so the heat index value. That is because we are going to be humid. So yes, unfortunately, 87 is going to feel more like the 90s this afternoon. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid. Summertime kind of making an early presence here this afternoon. And it is going to be quite breezy because we do actually have a cool front moving through today, but it's not going to do much for us other than offer us that breeze and slightly bring down the temperatures. But hey, today will be a good day for ice cream, everyone. Hot and humid. Maybe a few. Notice the thunderstorm icon underneath the today over on the ice cream truck over there. We could have a few thunderstorms. I'll time those out for you as that front pushes through. That'll kind of add just a little extra lift along with the daytime heating to offer us the chance for maybe a few thunderstorms. And if you do get caught under one, you'll notice it. It'll carry very heavy rain because of all that moisture we have in the atmosphere. And of course, frequent lightning. So if you're out and about, maybe you're running your errands and thunderstorms start rolling in, just be extra cautious. But if you're heading out to get ice cream today, always a good day for ice cream. But on a day like today, maybe you go get ice cream after you pick up the kids from school. A nice little treat. You're going to have to eat it pretty quickly because it's going to melt with upper 80s out there. Now through the overnight, this is the cooler air kind of settling in. So as that cool front moves through later this evening, it's going to dry our air mass. So we won't be quite as muggy. It'll actually be quite comfortable humidity-wise tomorrow and Thursday. And the drier air will allow temperatures to drop a little quicker. So we'll wake up in the upper 50s in the mountains, low 60s rather than, low 60s for Metro, I should say, rather than the upper 60s like we woke up today. So a little cooler. Let's time out all that rain. So for the first half of the day through your lunch hour, you should be fine. So if you're headed out to grab lunch this afternoon, you don't have to worry about any showers or thunderstorms. That story will change, though, for the ride home from work and school today. So as we head towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock, we start to heat up. All that moisture starts to rise, and thunderstorms ultimately will bubble up in the afternoon. Again, with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s today. Not expecting any severe weather, but definitely could have some storms on the stronger side with gusty wind, heavy rain, and frequent lightning. So just a heads up, as you're headed home from work today, you might run into some of those heavier downpours, and that could reduce your visibility as you're driving out and about. So just something to keep in mind. As we head into the evening and we start to cool off, then we start to quiet down. You're going to notice skies clearing. That is the drier air behind our front. So the front is what's going to help stir up those showers and storms. Probably should have mentioned that, right? But between around 5 to 8 p.m., that front will be kind of moving through the area that will offer us the chance for isolated showers and thunderstorms. The daytime heating will just kind of help with the shower and storm activity. And then skies will start to clear as that drier air filters in. And again, we'll wake up in the low 60s and upper 50s tomorrow. Highs tomorrow in the low 80s. So that's that slightly cooler air starting to spill in through the day tomorrow. So we'll go from the upper 80s today to lower humidity and slightly cooler air for the day tomorrow. So overall, it'll be a really nice middle of the week. Here's a look at your dew points. I showed this yesterday, and I think this graphic is important because this is really the only change you're going to notice. It's going to be very warm all week long, but the humidity is what makes a huge difference in how it feels outside. This is essentially what controls your comfort. So when you're in the mid-60s dew points wise, or 60 and above, that's pretty muggy, and that's where we're going to sit for a good handful of the week. Notice, though, behind our front that moves in, we'll have more comfortable dew points in the 50s, so it'll be warm and it'll be dry. Good news for those of you headed to the Braves game tomorrow night. Maybe not tonight so much, but tomorrow night will be great. And then as we head into Mother's Day weekend, Mother's Day is on Sunday. Y'all don't be forgetting that now, okay? It's a couple days away. Don't be the person last minute at Publix trying to buy the card because we know how that ends up. You don't get all the good pickings with the flowers also. So Mother's Day is on Sunday, everyone. And it's going to be warm. It's going to be humid. Let's talk about the temperatures for it. Oh, actually, rain. We're going to be dry with that cold front moving through. So Wednesday, our rain chance is none, but as moisture starts to creep back in, indicated by those higher dew points I showed you, we bring back more of that summer-like pattern with afternoon showers and storms. Monday, another cool front could be moving through the area. Models are in pretty good disagreement on that. They're not really agreeing on how much rain we'll see on Monday, but it does look like Monday will be slightly wetter than the rest of the next couple of days. Now let's talk about that Mother's Day forecast. So we're under this ridge of high pressure. That's going to give us the very warm days. The next several days, we're not going to have any kind of dip in the jet stream to bring in cooler air from the north. And so as that warmer air takes over, yes, we are going to be in the 90s by Mother's Day. In fact, our first 90-degree day of the year. It's not the earliest we've ever seen 90 degrees, but it is pretty premature. So if you have any Mother's Day plans, you're trying to make Mother's Day plans, maybe you're doing a barbecue or something outside, or you're planning lunch or brunch, definitely want to try to pick something indoors so the AC is your friend, or just be sure you have plenty of ways to stay cool, plenty of water out and about to keep everyone hydrated, because it'll be a hot day and humid as well. So a few storms today along a cold front, mainly south of Atlanta is where that's going to set up. So I-20 southward is where we'll really focus, but definitely could experience a few thunderstorms within the perimeter and within Metro. And then we'll be cooler tomorrow and a little drier. The air will be super comfortable on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll bring in that chance for afternoon storms every day through Mother's Day. Monday, it looks like, again, another front could be trying to push through. That could increase our coverage of rain, especially for the evening, with temperatures in the upper 80s. But notice, low 80s is as cool as it gets this week. We'll be back in the upper 80s on Saturday after today with our first 90-degree day, everyone, on the way for Mother's Day Sunday. So start thinking of indoor plans, or maybe you want to go by the pool or the river or the lake or something like that. It'd be a great day for it on Mother's Day. All right, everyone, thanks so much for spending some time with us to hear your top stories and your forecast. We always appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you make it a wonderful Tuesday. Stay cool today. Enjoy the warmer temperatures. It just seems like summer is around the corner, especially all of you parents with students. Summer will be here before you know it. It's definitely starting to feel like it out there here in North Georgia. Make it a great day. We'll catch you guys here next time.